All right, guys and girls, I wanted to get this video out to you guys a couple days late. Anyway, just got back from a trip a few days ago at riding on my new Mudlite 2s. I tell you what, it's the smoothest ATV tire I've ever put on a bike. I've had Spartacuses, I've had obviously the Zillas, I've had the Terracross, which Terracross is a great tire. They just didn't make my size. But, you know, I really fell in love with my Zillas. You know, I rode on them for 4.5 years and they just finally started to wore out. So, again, in my quest of looking for a new ATV tire, I just wanted something different. And to be honest with you, I found them. This is it. They're true to size, so they're 30 inches. There's a couple people asking me how much tire pressure I put in them. I put 10 pounds in them. With my Zillas, I think I put like 7 in the front and 5 in the rear, and they did real well. But man, these things, I will tell you this thing has, you know, 3 power steering modes, and literally I had to take it off the highest setting more to the middle so I get more of a feeling. I mean, these things drive like car tires on a hard packed trail, which for some of you it's good, and for the ones that really want the input from the tires, well, then it's well, be cautious, because again, these things are smooth. They're extremely easy to steer. So if you don't have power steering, man, these things are unbelievably smooth, and they're very, very easy to steer. So let me kind of get into where I went to. I live here in Indiana. I went to a place called Badlands, where it has, you know, mud, and it's got sand, and it's got some hills, got some ruts and all that, you know, jazz. What I found is in the sand, is the Zillas, and I'm going to do a comparison from the Zilla to what I'm experiencing here. And mind you, I love Zillas. To me, this is the better Zilla. For those out there looking for, you know, a little bit better tire, and a Zilla is a good all-around tire. I'd say these are a lot like the Zillas, except better. So I mean, if you go with the Zillas, man, I'm a Zilla freak, man. Those things just do good in all terrain. These things are the better Zilla. Not in all categories though. So I'll give you for instance, I think the Zillas actually did better in the sand. I'm thinking because all of the good power, you know, the steering and how smooth it is because these center lugs are so close and they're gigantic. So again, there's not a lot of space between here and here to have any rumble or whatever have you. They're extremely quiet too, by the way. But I think the way the curvature of the tire is, this is the high spot, obviously, and with the sand, these have to dig in before these things grip. And what I found with the Zillas, they did a really good job staying on top of the sand. These things had to dig in, you know, at least an inch and a half before they really start picking up traction. But they did fine. I mean, Zillas did better in the sand than these tires. What I really noticed is slippery rocks. These actually did a little bit better than the Zillas. They had a little bit more biting power on the side. I mean, these right here seem to do a lot better going uphill on the rocks. Now going downhill on like a slippery slope, I would say the Zillas did better because of the fact that, again, I'm not sure if it's because most of the weight is on these center lugs. It seemed like I was picking up a little bit more speed. Now, mind you, if I heavily broke and or used the brake, and you know, it would stop me just fine. So don't take what I'm saying as gospel. But again, it seemed like the Zilla is going downhill on a wet, you know, slippery slope. I would say the Zillas maybe did a little bit better, but going up a hill, man, you give a little bit of throttle, and man, these things just bite right in. I'd tell you one thing I really liked about these tires. Now, if you don't have power steering, these are the things I'm always really cautious about. I had these Spartacus tires, and when you're going like down these ruts or whatever have you, and I didn't have power steering on my last bike, it would rip the steering wheel right out of my hand because it had too much side bite. So literally it would claw at the side of at the side of a hill or going downhill, and we've all been in those situations where there's a rut or whatever have you. It's trying to yank the steering wheel out of your hands. With these right here, the side bite is better than the Zillows. The Zillows kind of let loose to the side. These right here, I don't even want to use the word grab. I want to use it, it feels more stable on the side, so it means if I'm kind of twisting into a rut or getting myself out of a rut, man, these things give you a lot of input on the side of the tire. So that kind of brings me to my next point. It doesn't really give you a lot of the input on a hard pack, going straight because they're extremely smooth. But man, you start cornering or getting into the ruts, man, these tires give you all the input you need to know. I got into some mud. I'd say the mud characteristics are, again, a lot like the Zilla. These things aren't fabulous in the mud like that. I have, grill axle tires. The problem is it'll rattle the teeth out of your face. Again, this is a great trail tire. It's just a good all-around tire. But again, this is to me, it's a Zilla. It's a better than Zilla tire. And that's just the best way I know how to describe it. I do like the fact that, it's the side. If you see this lip right here, man, there is no mud. For those of you that own Zillas, we all know that you come back from a trip, from really getting on it or whatever have you, and you get mud in the rim. Man, there is no, and I tried real hard to get mud in the rim in this thing. It's just because it was real soupy. We just came off a big rain for the last, feels like 2 months. But again, I have no mud issues at all. In that the roll, this is a little bit heavier bike than most, but I'll tell you this. Going around corners, so much better than the Zillas. Again, what I noticed was when I was going around the corners, the Zillas always wanted to kind of cave in a little bit. Man, these things don't move. I mean, period. Now, mind you, this is a ATV / it's a side-by-side tire, but man, they make a great ATV tire. They really do. Let's see here. Did I miss anything? So, not as good as sand, not as good. Probably the same or not as good going down a slippery slope. It's going straight. Definitely a little bit better in the side bite. The power steering, again, if you don't have power steering, man, you're going to love these things. And the Zillows were phenomenal too, by the way, but man, these things are amazing. The extra 10-pound of weight on these 30s, I mean, you don't even feel it. I mean, there's nothing that I couldn't tell the difference between these tires and the Zillas. So I was expecting a little bit of difference, but none. Anyway, if you have any questions, you're more welcome to throw it on the YouTube. Again, I'm not some YouTube expert or whatever have you, but I know that a lot of you guys go out there and search for tires and whatever have you in ATVs and lose your minds like I did. And like mind you guys, it took me a year to find the tire that I want, and it wasn't. It's not a budget thing. It's not it's not anything. I wanted something that I liked, and to be honest with you, I liked them. So I don't work for these companies, but again, that the guy out there trying to figure out what tire brand. Again, these are expensive tires. It's like all everything that we do in this hobby. But at the end of the day, would I buy them again? Yes. If they were a lot more than what they were over the Zillas, I'd go back to the Zillas. So these are just, again, a step above the Zillas. But if they were like $200 more expensive, I'd go back to the Zillas. But with the price difference, I would definitely recommend giving these things a try for sure. So anyway, I hope this review helps a little bit. So anyway, Mudlite 2, Part 2. Enjoy.